It's Don here from the board. Thanks for coming along and checking out this video. So this is part 2 of restoring this Carter No.7 plane. Now in the first part I gave it a bit of a disassemble and I've got all the loose parts there. I cleaned up the actual bolt here for the tote, the rear handle, and I tried to give it a bit of a scrub and a clean with the wire brushes. And I've used some WD-40, which I left to soak overnight. Now, one thing about WD-40 is that it does actually have a solvent in it, so it does evaporate. But what I did was I put these cloths and paper towels to try and help it penetrate as long as possible. So it seems like the bulk of it has evaporated off and left the sort of the oil film, but you can still see the surface is still quite wet there. I'm not going to wipe it away fully, I don't expect, but we'll see how much that has made a difference with this. Now I've also brought in, I didn't have any wire steel wool, but this is a acrylic scrubber, so it's a little bit more gentle, but it might help lift and remove some of the debris. And one thing that I did discover and read about, see and watch about is that if the WD-40 is not doing the job of lifting the rust, I can use household vinegar. So that's kind of my backup plan. Is we'll see how we go with this part, and if I need to go down to the shops to grab another container, like a big tub type of thing, and then use that to soak the whole iron and see if that will help remove the actual rust. I have to be gentle with it. So it is taking some stuff off, but it's not as much as I had hoped. So I'm going to just try this side. That we did actually use the sanding block before with 100 grit, so you can see it sort of did take some stuff off there. Probably this side I don't mind because that's not going to be the flat surface against the actual body of the shooting plane and the shooting board, sorry, the shooting board and whatever it is that we're actually trying to cut edges on. But I would say that it's not lifting a lot. Now they do use vinegar. They let it sit for 24 hours and then they scrubbed it with a nylon brush and then washed it off. Now that was just with household level vinegar, so only 4%, rather than say cleaning vinegar, which is a high percentage, because they were concerned about what it might do to etchings and eat the actual metal faster than intended. So look, you know, it's doing. It's not really working. I'm destroying this nylon scrub pad. These little bristles are actually coming off. So the iron is outlasting, not surprising, the actual plastic on this. So maybe I can just use this to... I'm trying all sorts of things here because I don't want to be superly aggressive, but at the same time I do want to try and get as much of that off. So this is really a bit of a fail right now. I mean, that's just a bit of scrap. I do have this much more aggressive wire brush, which I guess will just get any loose bits off, but I don't know if it's going to really get too much rust off. Mechanical scrubbing. Yeah, I can see a lot of flakes coming off, so let's try it on this. Well, it's definitely doing something. You can see the colors changing. Could be something, could be nothing. Might just be nothing. I would say that there's definitely a lot of rust here that needs to come off. Now, I was reading up a bit of history on the Carter planes because I don't really know too much of them, and as far as brands go, they seem to be quite small. So it turns out they only existed for a very short period of time. I believe about, was it 10 years or something like that, which is extremely short for a, you know, type of tool company. And one of the challenges that they had was consistency of product. So they came to market, but they never really produced anything in-house, but rather they sent their products to be manufactured in different foundries across Sydney, and that led to a lot of inconsistencies in what was being produced. And I think that's probably what's actually played a part in their demise, because obviously if you're getting an inconsistent quality product, people aren't going to be interested in buying it, right? So right now this is not going so well. I mean, there's definitely rust coming off. It's just not at the speed that I'd like to see it coming off. Although now that I've given that a bit of a scrub, this is definitely speeding up. It's getting that's nice and dark. But I think we're going to have to go with possibly the vinegar soak. Now, I did say in the last video that I was probably going to go with the drill and use the wire brush, but I haven't quite got there actually. So after I saw the vinegar option, I thought that might be a little bit less elbow grease involved. Now, because I've already soaked these, I might as well use them. So I'll try and, you know, wipe up whatever I can with these, because I will need to clean this entire body now. And then of course chuck it into a container so that I can actually soak it. So I'll probably need to put this into like a detergent of some kind to just cut through all the oil and the residue that's been left over from the WD-40, and then we'll be able to go and clean it in the vinegar, because if it's still covered in the oil, I don't know if the vinegar is going to actually do too much to it while it's still oily. So let's just put these back, and I have to take a measurement, and then we'll have to go and chuck this into a tub and let it soak for a bit and see how it turns out. Bit of an adventure right now, but you know what? That's how it goes. I can put everything else in there except for the timber bits, and that too will also help eat and etch and soak on the rust on this. So yeah, a little bit disappointing, but you know what? That's just how it goes. This is how we learn. And yeah, one of the interesting things about the inconsistencies was there was a picture on a blog which was comparing the wall thicknesses of the planes next to a Stanley, and one of the Carter examples that they had, one of these side walls here of the plane was half the thickness of the other one, which, I mean, quality control wise, even if you manufactured it poorly, on inspection it should have never even left the factory. So the fact that it actually did, it goes to show that the people who were contracted to manufacture for them also didn't apply, you know, a lot of care where they really should have. So probably also played part in demise. Interestingly, with this blue that I saw yesterday when I started cleaning this up, it was a bit of a surprise to me, because most of the Carters that I've seen listed in the past are actually green. So all this blue paint that's actually flaking off right now, a lot of that's probably going to come off when I soak it in the vinegar, which is a bit sad, but you know what, that's just part of restoration kind of works. If it's flaking off this easily, then it probably wasn't going to stay anyway long term. So I don't have a bead blaster, I don't have a sandblaster. Might have to use the Y wheel anyway to clean this off, but we'll see how much comes off naturally in the soak later. And yeah, then we'll have to think about what we're going to put on top of it. I'm going to say I'm probably going to use my wax paste. So that's this little bottle over here, which is a mix of coconut oil and natural beeswax. So that wax paste is going to give it that protection, stop it from rusting, in theory, I hope, perhaps. Look at all that, that's just flaking off. Alright, well, I'm pretty much done for what I can now. I'm going to have to go and soak, wash, clean. I've got, you know, some buckets that I can do that with over there. Which, yeah, at this point in time, I'm going to end this part 2, which I guess just resulted in a little bit of a fail, and we'll come back for part 3 once it's in some vinegar and give it a bit of a scrub up, and we'll see how that turns out. So thanks for coming along and checking out this video, and until next time, happy clacking.